tell Wayne that I said this guitar's a good one. Oh man, and Philip ain't making it sound bad either. What about this chord right here? That's it now. What do you want to say?
Doc, you know, how about a little thing in D here? I was walking down the street the other day in Boone, and it made me think of this song. Hey, by the way, y'all noticed that life-size statue of Doc Watson on the corner? You know, back, I guess, Doc, I think he told me his late 40s and early 50s, you played just almost exactly across the street from there.
Yeah.
With Tin Cup on the guitar. Tell them about that.
I won't tell you the whole deal about what happened to that guy. Our high sheriff made the mistake of hiring an idiot to work in Boone. Let me get my tongue straight there. And wait a minute now. And his gun was his law. He didn't have enough sense to be a policeman. And I was sitting picking for some boys across the street from where the statue is. I wasn't on the street. On, get that word straight now, on. And he comes over there, and these boys were from a place called Pottertown. And he grabbed me and gave me a big jerk and said, I told you you couldn't play on the street. And her hands hit pocket and said, touch him again, and the undertakers will carry you out of here, buddy. And he ran like a scared rabbit. There was a Mr. Jim Brown who lived up the street. I'm not going to tell you who killed Lee Rose. I ain't going to tell you nothing about that. But wait just a minute. And Jim was renting a great big porch of a place on some place up there where he was selling produce like, you know, peaches and things maybe he'd grown in his garden and making him $1. And he'd heard somebody run up the street and told him what happened. And he'd heard it, and when I went walking up through there, he said, Doc, you come on up here and sit down and pick your guitar on my porch, and you can make you $1 or $2, and I'll sell a few bucks worth of this stuff. And about that time, here comes old Lee Rose, and he looks up at Jim Brown and said, and Jim keeps a gun laying there by his little thing that he puts his cash in, and he looked at old Lee and said, if you reach for that gun, the undertakers has already got you. That's the end of the story.
You know, Doc, you know, that lacks a two-lane street being full circle. You've been from there to just all over the world with your music. And I think that's pretty special. You know?
One of my best friends that ever lived on this planet was Ralph Rensler. He helped me get started in the folk revival, they called it. First trip he took me for was all the way to California and back for free. I didn't hire him. He just said, I'll take you to California and back and want you to play at a little place up in one of the big towns out there. There's a place in it called the Ash Grove. And he took me out in that place and introduced me to the man that ran the thing, Ed Pearl. And he said, won't you hear this man play? And he listened and he said, I believe I can put him on here. Well, that gave me a job or two out there. Me and a couple of friends from the area, Fred Price and Clint Howard, went with me. And we played that place 4 or 5 times, and that was one of the far away places that I first went with Ralph. And he was instrumental in getting the record contract with Vanguard Recordings. And the studios was right there in New York City, just out of the village. And we go up there today, every day. I do some proofs for them to put on records. And Ralph and I would go up there and we'd sort of listen, and if anything wasn't quite right, we'd say, hey, increase this and that or the other. And they would. They'd listen because they know that we knew the music. And nobody in those days knew much about old-time music. But anyway, and I didn't know too much about it.
Well, I believe you knew enough.
Well, I learned something.
Did you want to do this song, walking down the street and I just couldn't keep from crying? We've done it. You'll recognize it.
Keep it going. I'll get my plastic.
Walking down the street and I just couldn't keep from crying. Oh, walking down the street and I just couldn't keep from crying. Oh, a woman alone sure was on my mind. The way you talk about your troubles, Lord, I've had mine. Oh, talk about your troubles, Lord, I've had mine. Oh, trouble all my days. Let's pick it up. Leave us gone.